Graphic design is everywhere. Iconic brands are iconic because they follow the rules of efficient graphic design. A group of designers at a company had to meet and discuss branding. Freelance designers also need to meet up with clients to discuss their individual brand. It isn't just branding though. There's web design, game design, animation, and typography as well. All graphic design is social. Its purpose is to communicate with an audience. A brand tells the consumer what it sells and what it stands for. A good designer understands their audience. So why are graphic designers worried about artificial intelligence? Well, in addition to creating AI programs with the ability to generate original images, developers are trying to create AI that can think like a human and possibly be as creative as one. But is it really possible? Should human designers fear AI? This is what I wrote my literature review about. Hello, my name is Carmela Pecor, and in this presentation I will be breaking down my literature review and its components. I will also discuss my findings and reflection at the end of the presentation. An introduction introduces three important components: the topic, how AI affects graphic designers; the thesis, AI will not overtake designers and will instead function as a tool; and the research question, how has AI affected the graphic design industry, and will it overtake human designers? Here I have my introduction. It's short, but this was all I needed to include those three components. I start by introducing my topic. I mention artificial intelligence and how it is bound to become integrated into the labor market. Then, I connect it to graphic design by mentioning AI's ability to generate original images and how this has led artists and designers to feel scared. Next is my thesis. I state that AI will not overtake designers and will function as a tool instead. I already demonstrated here how my paper will be organized. In order to support my thesis, I will discuss the development, understanding, and application of AI in graphic design. Then, I provide the research question. How has AI affected the graphic design industry, and will it overpower human designers? The research question is important because it gives your audience further context about your sources and what you will be discussing. Here, I also provided the purpose for my literature review. Now I can begin to write the review of literature section. Body paragraphs have three important components: summary, summarizing each author's claim in a concise manner; synthesis, making the authors talk to each other using linking words and phrases; and evaluation, putting all the perspectives together to form a conclusion. I will be using my first body paragraph section to demonstrate these components. First, I summarize the articles. I state that all the authors discuss how developers have attempted to create a program that thinks like a human brain, and that this level of technology hasn't been achieved yet. Next, I synthesize. I make the authors talk by using linking phrases such as "on the other hand." I also make sure to use citations when quoting or paraphrasing articles. In my synthesis, the authors discuss their research on AI's ability to think and be creative. In my evaluation, I connect their research and conclude that developers have not been able to create any AI programs that can think or be creative. It doesn't mean it can't happen. since it is difficult to predict the future of AI and graphic design. Additional sections in a literature review are the miscellaneous and methodology sections. In the miscellaneous section, I talked about an interesting topic mentioned in 2 of my sources. There have been 2 tests used to determine intelligence and creativity in machines, the Turing test and the Lovelace test. I wrote this paragraph the same way I wrote my body paragraphs because I felt that it was easier. In the methodology section, I explained where I got my sources and how I chose them. I chose my articles based on 2 criteria. They present information about AI programs used in art or design, and they apply or attempt to apply AI elements into art or design processes. A conclusion has 2 overall components. Findings: AI is beneficial to graphic designers because it simplifies processes to save time. And implications: this discussion will proceed once AI is further developed with additional abilities and uses. My findings were that artificial intelligence is beneficial to graphic designers and will not take over the field like most people thought it would. Because it will work as a tool that they can co-create with in order to simplify graphic design processes, designers will have more time to be creative. In the implication section, I mentioned how the discussion will proceed once AI is further developed with additional abilities and uses. Graphic design is also developing, so new problems and improvements need to be researched. AI may become stronger in the future, but for now, human designers are keeping their jobs. Finally, it's time to discuss my reflection. In my reflection, I mentioned how the literature review made me feel and what it taught me. This is my reflection. First, I talked about my experience before I started to write my paper. The first component I struggled with was the topic. This is because my first topic, how graphic design has influenced the way we communicate, was too vague. My second topic, how typography used in iconic movies becomes a recognizable brand, was too specific. In the end, I decided to go with the same topic I chose for my article analysis. Next, I talked about what it was like while writing the literature review. I struggled with my synthesis because it was the first time I used more than 2 sources in one paragraph. I also mentioned the peer review process. My peer reviewer helped me a lot by pointing out everything I needed to fix and giving me examples on how to do it better. Another thing I struggled with, without realizing, was citing correctly. He helped me with that too. I also included 4 sources by mistake, so it was hard to rewrite my body paragraphs without it. Finally, I briefly shared my thoughts on how I felt after writing my paper. I just hoped I had done everything correctly, and was glad that my peer reviewer had given me feedback before I turned in the final draft. So there it is. Artificial intelligence is not a threat to graphic designers. Although it may become more powerful as the years go by, it hasn't been able to think like a human yet, much less be creative on its own. Graphic designers will keep their jobs and use AI programs as tools that allow them to save time, along with many other benefits. I'm Carmelo Pecor, and this has been my presentation breaking down my literature review. Thank you for watching.